I pledged to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. This is the national pledge, or the pledge of Nigeria, my country of origin, my country of birth. Now, it's interesting how, like, the national anthem, right? It seems, obviously on the surface, it seems something that people just get together, form a kind of a pledge for their organization. And of course, if you want, as an organization, you can leave. You can stop becoming a member. There are many organizations in Nigeria, so many. The Red Cross, religious non-profits organizations, just a variety of organizations that you can join and you can leave anytime. But the national anthem and the national pledge, they are not voluntary. So, like, whether or not you pledged to defend Nigeria or not, you don't have choice than to be in Nigeria. Well, what does it mean to be in Nigeria? You have no choice. As long as you reside within that jurisdiction for the laws of Nigeria to take effect on you. Meanwhile, an organization can have location in a geographical location. You could live in the same geographical location without having to be a member. But with a country, it doesn't work that way. You don't have choice. There's a gun close to you. There's a gun in the room. If you don't do as the country says, you're gonna get sent to jail, prison, or you die. It sounds so innocent. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. You see, you gotta be loyal. It's okay. You can be loyal as long as it's voluntary. And these are the kinds of things that makes people like me don't see the violence of government. When I was little, government school was subsidized. I had to pay, which honestly it wasn't my dad that paid most of the money. Someone else did. But I had to pay, but it was cheaper than going to a private school. So, like, growing up and having someone that does this to you, that takes care of you, pays your school fees, it's hard to see that person as evil. Particularly, what makes it worse is you don't see the gun in the room. It's hidden. It's somewhere. As long as you obey, you won't see the gun. Maybe in some Western countries, but not necessarily in many countries. So it's really hard to criticize someone who's taking care of you. It's really hard to think objectively. It's really hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. It's really hard to convince someone who's had government benefits, who, for example, this message hasn't gotten to them about the violence of government. Because really, I don't know if anyone would have come to that conclusion on their own. Maybe people could have, I'm sure. People have. But it's really difficult to come to that conclusion that government is violence. Because all you see are just people, just doing things and discussing how they should fund education, how they should ban certain things, how they should regulate. Like, you don't see it. And it's really participatory. Like, so if you want to participate in an election, you could go and campaign for someone. It's kind of fun. So you don't see, it's hard to see the violence. Really difficult to see the violence of government. That's why people, I think it's part of the reason why government exists. Because people don't see that. And of course, government is not the root, but it's a symptom of the way we are brought up by our family and the environment we live. Command and control, do as I say, So if someone grows up in that kind of environment, it's hard to see the evil of that kind of system. Many, I think I said this before, there's a friend of mine he's well educated, but not only him alone, many that admit that they will use beatings as a method of discipline. So basically they will beat their children as a method of discipline. That method worked for them. They wouldn't have been what they are now without their parents beating them. Anyway, so it's hard to see the evil of government with all these things. We get benefits, and the gun isn't waved at us on the open. It's just when you don't obey, then you see the gun. So yeah, that's what came to my mind, and I thought I should say something about all these kinds of pledge to country, that is not voluntary. Like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of misleading you. You thought probably I was going to end the podcast, but it's kind of interesting. Just imagine a form of organization, and you just happen. So a form of organization is operating within a certain area. Me, your parent, started that organization, and we say, okay, from this geographical location to this geographical location, that's where we will operate. And then you were born. But somehow, you must belong to that organization. How absurd does that sound? Me and your parents, for example, formed this organization, and then you just happened to be born by them, and you just happened to be born in that geographical location, but you have to conform to the rules. In fact, if you don't, you get sent to jail or die. That is absurd. Like, no one on their right senses would do that. Like right now, many people will not. People will not agree to that kind of arrangement. But here we are. This is to show how deep that indoctrination has become part of us, to accept something that it's not, we didn't start it, we didn't agree to it, and we don't have a choice. So think about that. All right, I promise this is the end. Thank you very much. If you like my show, if you get value, please return value by subscribing, sharing this message, helping the show, and any way you could participate. I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later.